The bullwhip effect. You may have heard the term, but what exactly does it mean? In this video, we're going to take a look at what the bullwhip effect is, what causes it, and how it affects the supply chain. First off, what is it? The bullwhip effect is a series of increasingly drastic swings in demand that travels along the supply chain. As a child, you might have played the game Telephone. In this game, everyone forms a circle and whispers a message to the person next to them. By the time the message gets back to you, it is unrecognizable, distorted and changed by each person it passed through. On the surface, this is very similar to the bullwhip effect, where each person represents a node in the supply chain, and the messages being whispered is demand for product. The reason it is called the bullwhip effect is because when viewed on a graph, these demand swings look like a shockwave traveling down a bullwhip that is being cracked. Now, the telephone analogy does fall apart pretty quickly, but it does provide a basic understanding of what exactly is going on. Now that we have a general understanding of what the bullwhip effect is, let's take a look at what causes it. There are four main causes of bullwhip effect: price fluctuations, order batching, long supply chains, and poor communication. Oftentimes, a retailer will offer significant discounts on a product in order to draw in customers. To do this, they purchase more product than normal to meet the increased demands that they are about to create. The retailer knows that this demand is temporary and will return to normal, but their supplier does not know this. Because of this, the supplier purchases more than they need in order to be prepared for increased demand in the future. But when the time comes for them to receive another order, suddenly demand has dropped back to normal, leaving them with excess inventory. This spike in demand affects the supplier's suppliers and continues to amplify across the supply chain. Just like the game Telephone, the longer the chain, the more distortion will occur. Here we can see this retailer's supply chain is short, and because of that, they experience very little bullwhip effect. This chain is sensitive to the retailer's demand and can meet orders quickly. Conversely, this retailer has a very long supply chain. Everything they order goes through several intermediaries and takes a long time to arrive. This long delay in receiving orders can cause panic buying, where the retailer, feeling like they aren't being heard, continues to up their order quantity. Order batching is when a company decreases the frequency of their orders and compensates by using larger orders. While this can decrease costs, it also means that every order will vary more because it covers a larger period of time. This can lead to wild fluctuations in demand and can perpetuate the bullwhip effect across the supply chain. The final main cause of the bullwhip effect is poor communication. When nodes in the supply chain don't talk to each other, nobody knows what's going on. As you may have noticed earlier, several of the problems causing the bullwhip effect could be solved if the firms within the supply chain simply communicated what they were doing. Unfortunately, many firms fail to realize how interconnected they are with the rest of the supply chain and, as a result, often don't communicate well. Keeping these causes in mind, let's take a look at what the bullwhip effect means for firms within the supply chain. Some nodes within the supply chain may have to expand their operations to meet the inflated demand caused by the bullwhip effect. This may involve negotiating with unions to increase overtime hours, hiring and training more workers, or even building new warehouses and factories. Another common side effect of the bullwhip effect is stockouts and overstocking. Early in the life cycle of the bullwhip effect, the customer-facing node may not be able to meet demand, leading to loss of sales and sometimes layoffs and closure. Later in the life cycle, when supply has finally increased to meet the inflated demand, firms can find themselves with far too much product and nothing to do with it. This can lead to expensive inventory costs, loss of potential profit, and again, layoffs and bankruptcy. These are just a few examples of what the bullwhip effect does to a supply chain. This has been a brief overview of the bullwhip effect, what it is, what causes it, and how it affects the supply chain. Thanks for watching.